Well, hey folks, out here in the garage, installing a receiver hitch on my son's 2011 Ford Escape, and I wanted to show you how I'm doing it here. So this vehicle, it was factory equipped with the wiring and everything for the tow package, but it didn't include a receiver hitch. And as you can see, here's all the factory wiring, and if we go down, it is factory equipped. And from the factory, it has just this little cap on it, this little plug. So I went to the wrecking yard and I got the correct plug here. This one here has the 4-way flat, but it looks like you could have opted to have the 7-way because all the wires are there. Now I could have got an aftermarket hitch for this, like a Kurt or a Draw Tight or something like that, and it wouldn't have mounted in the factory location. It would have actually mounted underneath the frame, and it would have used those holes underneath. And it would have been a class 3 hitch with a 2-inch, accepted a 2-inch ball mount. The problem with that is it hangs down low. The whole thing's underneath the bumper cover, like hanging down low. And I just think the aftermarket hitches look like crap. So what I did is I pulled the bumper cover off. It's not that hard. Comes off with a few bolts. There's, I guess, the crash bar there, whatever you want to call it, the bumper support. The hitch will be replacing that. And you just have to take off a few body panels. It actually comes off very easy. I mean, there's all the hardware involved. There's nothing to it. You can see what I'm about to do. I'm about ready to cut it. Just like the factory hitch, the bumper would have a cutout. I'm going to measure it one more time and make sure I got it right. But this whole thing comes off within literally if you're like super slow, as long as you know where the bolts are, if you're not mechanical at all, you can have this off in 30 minutes. I had it off in 5 minutes. Comes off very easy. 4 bolts to take the bumper support or the crash bar, or whatever you want to call it off. And I'll show you the factory hitch I'm putting back on there. All right, so for this particular vehicle, the Ford Escape, Mercury Mariner, and I think the Mazda Tribute, I think they're all the same. But anyways, here's the factory hitch right here that I'm going to put on. I got it from my local pick and pull yard. You can kind of see how it mounts. Boy, I'll tell you what, out in the wrecking yard, these were a pain in the butt to get off. Factory, they had red Loctite on. Yeah. Without a torch, almost impossible out there. But anyways, we got them off. So that's how it's going to mount. This basically slides in the frame. You got 2 big 17 millimeter headed bolts on each side. I believe they're 17s. Then up here under the spare tire cover, or the spare tire, you've got 2 more bolting locations there. Now keep in mind, this hitch is upside down right now. And then on the back where that crash bar or bumper support, whatever you call it is, there's going to be a bolt on each side of that. And this is, the factory OEM. I believe this is going to be a class 2 hitch. But yeah, it's good for a 350 pound tongue weight, 3,500 pound, trailer. And I believe because it has 1.25 inches, I believe that's a class 2. Could be wrong. But anyways, so I'm just putting this 1.25 inches on there. That'll be fine for that vehicle. It's got the mounts right there for the tow chains. So let me get this put on there. And, the reason I'm doing this, if you order one of those aftermarket hitches that bolt underneath, like I said, I think they look like crap. Not only that, they hang down lower. But for this particular vehicle, you're looking at the cheapest one I could find was like $250. And then if you wanted the wiring kit, that's like another $30 or $40, give or take, wherever you get it from. It was pretty pricey for this vehicle. So this here I got from my pick and pull. I paid, it was $37, plus, $3 and something cents tax and a $4 environmental fee. So like right about $48, $50 for everything, all said and done. and it's going to have a factory hitch on it. And it's plug and play with the wiring. All right, stand by. All right, and something else worth mentioning on this is, as I showed you, it's a 4-way flat, but up here it does have the wiring for a 7-way. Now, I got both of these from the wrecking yard because I wasn't sure which plug this vehicle had. So I got the one that plugged into that connector, and I also got the one off the same year vehicle that plugged in to this connector. So as you can see, this vehicle would have came equipped with only wiring for a 4-way flat. And that would have worked if this vehicle was equipped for that. But this one actually had the tow package for all of it. So while I was at the wrecking yard, I got them both just in case. All right, folks, so there is that factory hitch. Not all bolted up, but it's definitely on there. I'll show you how it lines up. So instead of using both of these studs, we're only going to use one on each side. That's how it is from the factory. Look underneath there. There's 2 threaded holes right there. It's going to bolt up there. Then if we look under here, we're going to use those 2 bolts, and you can see the threads in the hitch. And that is how it's all going to bolt up. Let me get those bolts in there. So I just got them on there. I haven't tightened them up. These don't even need to be here. They weren't on the other vehicle. But since this vehicle originally had them, I'm going to put them on. Underneath right here, this piece that goes above the spare tire, here's the bolts I got from the wrecking yard. These had blue Loctite on them. So these will be going there. And then these are the ones that had red Loctite. And there's no more evidence of the red Loctite on these. But if you look at the hitch itself, you could see it. These suckers were freaking hard to get off. So anyways, that's really all there is to it. The bumper cover covers, most of all this, except for this at the very bottom. This is the part I'm cutting out right here. And this piece here goes right under the bumper. Bumper cover probably comes up right about there. So I'm going to get it all put back together and everything. And I don't think I need to show you the rest. It's pretty simple. The bumper cover, it unbolts right here. You've got a T25. You got another T25 under here. T25, T25. And then right here you got a 10 millimeter. Looks like those right there. And that's all you need to take off the back of the bumper. And on the sides here underneath, right up under here, you've got a 7 millimeter bolt you got to get. That's that little guy right there. And then on each side, on this piece, right here, and right up there, you have these little push pins. You have to pull the heads out first, then the whole thing will come out. If you don't pull the heads out first, you're going to break them. And then once you have all that out, then the only thing holding this bumper cover on each side are these 2 little push pins right there. And they'll pull right out of there. You just pull them straight out. I used a cat claw because I didn't want to break them right there. And once you do that, that whole bumper cover will come right off. You can do whatever you need to do back here. I'm going to get this put back together. The rest is pretty much self-explanatory, how you're going to put it back together. I'm sure you can figure out how to cut this out. I'm probably just going to go get my Dremel and cut it out. The factory one isn't all square. It's actually stepped down a bit here, about a finger width. I'll go ahead and do that. Maybe I'll make a follow-up video when it's all installed. Anyways, or actually, I don't know. Maybe I'll do it in this video. Maybe I'll end it here.